Welcome everyone once again to another episode of Tinker, Tailor, Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. I tilt my head down and to the right to check the audio levels, and then apparently, oh, good, thank you. Wow. Siri's pretty good. Siri is pretty good at this. Let me bring you actually into this. This is the first time I've ever been impressed with what she's been able to come up with. Let's bring it over here. Okay, everyone, once again to another episode of Tinker, Tailor, Solder Fry from Loading Ready Run Video. Here's what I found. Tinker, Tailor, Solder Fry. Apparently the Lure Wiki is available on Apple Watch, so that's cool. Hey, everyone, welcome once again. This is Tinker, Tailor, Solder Fry, which is a Let's Try program here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network, which is, by the way, sponsored by you, the viewer, at home, via your generous donations over patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, your scandalous purchases over at store.com, store.loadingreadyrun.com, or loadingreadyrun.com/store, and of course by your generous bits and subs, donations of all kinds here at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun. And as I said, this is a Let's Try program. That means we're going to be doing things that we are maybe not necessarily familiar with doing. Maybe we haven't done them before. Maybe we're still a dilettante, or a novice, if you will. Today we're going straight raw. I have never had a crab Rangoon in my mouth. I know of them only via the memes on the internet, which I guess that they are just the staple diet of the savanna cheetah. But apparently that's not the case. Apparently they're not even foreign, which is crab Rangoon. It's a hell of a history. I couldn't find any. They are absolutely not Indian, though they apparently are often found in Indian or Chinese restaurants. And yeah, what are they? They're crab, or oftentimes pollock, or sometimes not even that. They're cream cheese, they are scallions, and they are wonton wrappers, and then they are deep fried to deliciousness. And mainly I just wanted to do this because I have never had a crab Rangoon before. They're a wonderful internet meme specialty, and I want to just go over again how easy it is, and how much fun it, and profitable mouth profit it is to deep fry in your home. That's the word. So let's get the aprons on. I just forgot this just before we got going today. And let's make ourselves some crab Rangoon. Uh-oh. Come on. 3, 4, 5, Tom. Last time the cheese had done its aging and had finished its aging. And we tried it a while back. It was good. I need to make another one, or at least I'm keen to make another cheese again. Rock Pusher asks, TTSF and deep frying, please tell me you have an extinguisher handy. Of course I do. I know exactly where it is. It's next to the door out of the building. Always know where your fire extinguisher is. Know that it is charged, and be ready to use it should you need to. Okay. Let me see here what we've got that we can get started on here. We need to, first of all, make a sauce. I'm going to be working off of the Serious Eats recipe by Kenji Lopez Alt, because, you know, I trust Kenji as much as I trust anyone when it comes to food, and yeah, it seems like a pretty easy recipe. But before we get into the Rangoons themselves, we need to make the dipping sauce, which is sweet and sour, and I'm kind of excited for this because it should be pretty easy to do. All we're going to do is take 1/2 cup of rice vinegar, 3/4 cups brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of ketchup, 2 teaspoons of red chili flakes, more or less, 1.5 cups of water plus 1 tablespoon, a tablespoon of cornstarch, and a 1/2 cup of fresh pineapple chunks or canned chunks drained. So I guess we better drain the gross mozzarella. Get that draining in the sink while we get our other ingredients ready to go. Actually, don't want, no, never drain pineapple in the sink. By God, Ian. What a way to waste pineapple. Let's stick this guy in a little glass here so we can collect the juices of the pineapple. Gonna stick this somewhere where it'll actually be safe. Great. We can drink that later with some carbonated water and it'll be delicious. Let's actually bring up the cooking surface, shall we? Gonna get my phone out of there. You don't need to be seeing anything that happens there. And then we try and gently maneuver around to our various ingredients. So yeah, we've got our cream cheese, we got our wonton wrappers. Other brands, as always, are available. Overweighty, Same on Foods, imitation crab, because really, it's not worth real crab for this. It just isn't. With what we're going to do to it, it's not worth it. We need the ketchup. We need the red chili flakes, which I keep up top here. Get bagged, yo. Ooh, we might be just on the edge of chili flakes there. Ketchup, brown sugar. Keep that up top here. That's going to be a fun one. Corn starch and measuring utilities. Corn starch. And what do we need? Tablespoons, teaspoons, and half teaspoons. Correct? Correct. And cups. Although some of this I think we'll just measure with our eyeballlios. All right, that's everything we need. And we, of course, are going to need and large pots. All right. Let's get started. So we're going to get the rice vinegar down from the top here. And this one we'll measure, actually. Yes, this is one of the few instances where we have time to grab and to crab. Let's see here. So we're looking for a half cup of rice vinegar, so 2 1/4. Ooh, no, we're going to want the quarter for our brown sugar. So let's start with the brown sugar. I like to do my measured amounts. Dry things first. Ooh, and that is extremely dry. Hopefully we can get enough out of that in order to get what we need. And that is 3/4 cup. Oh boy. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to chisel some of this. Okay, well that's fine. Ah! Welcome to my world. Just gonna stab the brown sugar. Honestly, I know that there are things available to soften brown sugar. Actually, I know what one of them is right now, and I'm going to use it. Problem is, I so rarely use brown sugar that it's almost not worth. I can put a softener clay thing in here, and it'll just end up dry as a bone in a few months by the next time I get to it. However, if we stick this in the microwave, and 15 seconds. Unfortunately, one of the issues about doing Tinker Tailor from my own kitchen is that we take up the entire kitchen. 3, 2, 1, and that should be good and, well, something. No.
I just needed water.
That softens some of that, so that should be a good start. It's 2. Can we get the 3rd? Oh, almost. So close. This is horrifying, isn't it? Who knew that this would be the start of today's stream? Chiseling out brown sugar from a margarine container. It's like one of those, I don't want to say buried fossil toys you get as a kid. Only this time, the real treasure we'll find will be inside us at the end. And that way you can take it with you. All right. This is all going to get whisked up in a second anyway. That's a lot of sugar. That always surprises me with Americanized Chinese food sauces, is just how much sugar goes into them. Because you got the sugar, to which we're now going to add the, what else is dry? Nothing else is dry except for the cornstarch, so we are good to go there. I guess now is a half cup of rice vinegar. Get that in there. Already decapped it. It's 1/4 cup. And that will take us to a half cup. How does that smell already? Because I'm already... These are already two very, very pleasant smells to me. Sweet and sour sauce is where I work as buckets of sugar plus vinegar boiled together with red food dye. Well, Mr. Man, we're going to be pretty close to a lot of that here today. Yeah, it's just vinegar and brown sugar so far. 2 tablespoons ketchup. I'm just going to eyeball that because, ketchup. There we go. Ah. Why? Why do these things exist this way? I'm gonna wash that off in the sink over here. Put my finger over the whole trick and then...
I'm not sorry. I won't apologize.
No, ketchup is a necessary ingredient for a number of things. It's not my favorite condiment or ingredient or anything. Well, whoops. All right. Let's see here. I mean, if it was me, that ketchup would have been bought back in 2012, probably, and not done yet. Ketchup. 2 teaspoons of the red chili flakes. Gotta have that kick, right? Oh yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all how long ketchup lasts, because ketchup itself is just mostly sugar and vinegar. Would you like to preserve something? Okay, well, put it in either vinegar or salt. You've now preserved or fermented. Wonder what fermented ketchup would be like. No, you know what? I'm going to stop that line of thinking right now. Okay, that's 2 of those there. Teaspoons of chili flakes. 1/2 cup of water. So let's bring those over. If you're curious tonight, Ian's beverage of choice is Spinnaker's House Dry Cider. Because I was able to finally get it in the keg. That's like my own little Christmas present to myself. Bring that back over, and that is 1/2 cup of water. Okay. That is, I think, all the stuff that we need to do there. Only the 2 measuring bits need any washing. I'm happy about that. I really do like to reduce the amount of dishes I use. All right. And what we need to do now is get the cornstarch slurry ready. So let's do that. Come over here, past the head. This is probably my smallest ramekin. That's probably the one we want to use. All right. Let's get ourselves a small whisk, or as I call it, a small fork. Ooh, I'm almost at a cornstarch. I'm proud of myself whenever I can finish a packet of something where I can use the packaging for more bulk stuff. Happy about that. Put that back in there next to the potato starch. And let's get another tablespoon of water handy. So, oh no, I just realized I need to finish my brisket today in order to get that in the sous vide. Time for it to be ready for Christmas. Okay, we're just gonna whisk this to form an slurry, which will be needed later to thicken up the sauce. Boy, do I like me a good thick sauce. Cornstarch is kind of magic, actually, in that respect. If you are not familiar with the thickening properties of cornstarch, I highly recommend experimenting with it. It's a fun little trick to play with kids, too. Fun little trick to play on kids, too. No, it's a fun little science-esque toy to make some oobleck. Just pour in bits of enough corn water into cornstarch to just get it liquided up. And no, we aren't quite oobleck yet there. I think we need a lot more cornstarch on that one. But the sort of stuff that you that looks like liquid, but the minute you give it any sort of pressure, it hardens right up. Cool stuff. Right. So we need to combine all the stuff, and then combine remaining tablespoon of water and cornstarch. Okay, we need to bring this to a simmer. And then we whisk to combine until sugar is dissolved under medium-high heat, which I call 4. Let's grab ourselves a whisk. I'm going to use a gravy whisk because I think these do really well for this sort of low, not low temperature, but low volume sauces. And let's take you on over to the stove. There we go. Keep our eye on that. Just going to turn down the overheads there. There we go. Oh, that is the wrong high. On these dual burner stoves, you got to watch out for whether you're using the inner ring or the full outer ring. If you do the full outer ring, that definitely ends up giving you the hot handle. All right. What I love about the gravy whisks is how easy it is to start to aerate things too with them. We're just going to leave that until it starts to bubble just a bit. Have a sip of the old bevy. Let's have a look over our recipe. What else do we need to do next? So, we're going to combine the slurry, whisk it in, bring it to a boil, and let it cool. Great. And then we will add the pineapple chunks once it's cooled, apparently. So that's good to know. Next up, combining cream cheese, crab, and scallions in a meeting bowl and fold with a spatula. Well, when it comes to the cream cheese, 8 ounces is roughly 250 grams, so that's good by itself. Let's give this another quick whisk here. Wonton pack. This is my first time making anything with wonton sheets as well, so I'm very excited to see how this goes. But nothing out of the ordinary about that, just enriched flour. But we'll need probably a good number of those, if not all. 2 quarts of peanut oil. That's a lot of peanut oil. We're not using peanut oil. We're going to be using vegetable oil because it's what I have available. And again, if we're looking for the amount of 6 ounces crab meat, again, I figure 220 is roughly that. So we'll need to chop that up. Cut into half-inch pieces. So there's going to be a lot of chopping we're going to have to do here in just a second. And of course, those 6 scallions, which I should probably just get out and wash right now while we wait for that to come to a simmer. Got myself a, oh yes, and a, who said a finger bowl for keeping the the fingers moist. Well, you don't want to keep them moist. You want to get them moist for the sealing process. I understand that too moist and they'll be no good. Here's our scallions. They're pretty. They're scallions. What more do you want? But apparently we'll only be using the white parts of them. So, again, when you're dealing with Americanized foods, it just it fits the bill, in my opinion, to only use the white parts. All right, let's chop there, here. Probably do some peeling too of these. Get some of that excess stuff. You're not on screen, but that's okay because my onion technique is shameful. Come on. I should probably bring you back for this. Let's find something to do with the... Woo! There goes a light. Almost. Goomblacks, that's... I have feelings about ingredient substitution. Now, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't substitute if you don't have the chance, but I do think that it, especially when you're dealing with non... and by native I mean, you know, where you're from, what's easily available in your area. It's worth hunting down the real necessary ingredients because that's how you replicate flavor. This is something I understood when I was going through my sandwich making process a while back. Was the question of, well, you know, how do you make a sandwich taste as good as it, or a hoagie taste as good as it does when it comes directly from a deli? And the answer is to follow every step that they do. So, you know, if they're shaking on oil and vinegar in the shop, you shake on oil and vinegar. You salt and pepper it. You use the things. But that also means that wrapping the sandwich is important and letting the sandwich rest for the amount of time that you would usually take you. I mean, even the time it takes you at the counter before you go down and sit down and start eating it. Ideally, even more time. The time it would take you to get back to your cubicle from going off to get that sandwich at your local food court. That time time is one of the ingredients, and if you don't respect the ingredients, you don't necessarily get the same results. But, like I said, experimentation breeds innovation, and so you know so that's where ingredient substitution can come into a good play. I think we're just about at the stage now where we can start adding our slurry here. I've noticed a lot of movement in our sauce. Let's bring that over there. Have a look at that before I scare you all with my knife skills. Starting to get some bubbles, but the sauce itself is thin AF. So we're gonna fix that with our. Ooh, you can see it starting to settle a bit. With our starch mixture. Make sure that's good and whisked up before we add that in. In terms of spices, I'm a big fan of buying fresh spices and then freezing them in the freezer. You can just break off what you need, or just add those leftovers to your stock pot at the end of the month. Oh, Anubis is going to Japan. Might be going to Japan. Any tips? Honestly, the amount of time I spent away in Japan, probably things have changed a lot. I mean, but the general advice always stands: get yourself a rail pass, get yourself one of the local contactless pay cards, either Suica or Passmo for Tokyo and area, to make getting on trains and metros a lot easier around there. Don't be afraid of searching up business hotels or ryokans for a much lower cost accommodations, and have fun. Eat a lot. That's my big suggestion. All right, let's scare people with my bad cat paw. Because that's still taking its time getting hard. Getting hard? That's the wrong word. Getting hot. Let's see if we can just really shave these down. I want to impart flavor. Oh, my sauce has started to simmer. So we're going to jump back to that. You can see that it's just starting to get some bubbles there. So let that go for a couple other seconds while I finish up the onions. Uh-oh, dropped an onion. Oh, that's on me. I'm probably using too much of the light green parts of the onion, but you know what? I like onion. Hopefully it won't cause too much of a problem in the final recipe. There we go. And you didn't have to see me nearly chop off my fingertips, which is important. Okay, there's our simmer. We don't want this to boil yet. He was planning to run the 1,000 steps to the shrine. Start your training now! And let's whisk it in. No one can say that that wasn't whisked in. And now we let it boil. All right, I'm going to grab a small bowl, if I can. Yep, let's go with cordingware. Love cordingware. All right, okay, so it wants about half a cup of scallions. So because size is going to matter here, I'm going to look at actually attempting to measure that out. Oh, that's looking like a good sauce, isn't it? How does that look? Starting to thicken up. We're getting there. Sir Markov, if you're saying that it's okay if I only almost cut off my finger, that if I'm going to cut off my finger, I absolutely have to have that on camera for value. Yeah, I understand. I read the contract I signed when I signed up with Loading Ready Run. I understand that if I'm going to bleed, it has to be on camera. That is absolutely not true. Please do not hold that to the owners of the network or myself. Just a wee fun bit. I think it's going to want a rolling boil. Well, not a rolling boil, but a boil. This is again still just a simmer. But oh, look at that. Look at those bubbles. Look at those go. Okay. Yeah, for me, watching a pot boil is hell because I feel the need to give it a stir. But every time I give it a stir, that's one step farther away from boiling. But it is also one step closer to making sure that it has a nice consistent temperature. So who knows? Oh, sweet! I didn't realize this. My dough scraper, which is great for using any sort of vegetable delivery, or other cut thing delivery from cutting board to what have you. I've got, oh Jesus, it's part of the Martha Stewart collection. Other dough hooks are available. This one I purchased at a local Winners. I guess you could say it's one of those surplus shops. Yeah, other shops are available. Okay, I think that I was going to call that was boiling. No, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. I don't want this to be a too much of a thin sauce. But I think this is, yeah, look at that. We've got nice even bubbles forming all around. That's a boil. That's the kind of sauce that's going to give us a good time. So let's give it one more whisk. Let's get the heat off on that, and let's move it over there, and let's swap that for our good friend, Sir Wok. In the meantime, let's head on back over here while we prepare our inside ingredients. What I was making the point of is that inside here, you got this little cup area, and it's got a handy quarter cup and a half cup line. So I'm just going to see if we've got enough here. And you know what? That's good. You know what? That's close enough to a half cup that I will call this government work. And I should know. I work for the government. Bad form laughing at your own really terrible jokes. By the way, Ian, you might want to cut that out for the VOD. All right, let's give that a quick rinse out, because we probably will need that later on to pick up some crab. Yeah, no, rip wok on electric. I don't like. I like my wok. I was thinking about using my Dutch oven, but I was unsure how many of the Rangoon I'd be able to fit into the Dutch oven at a time, and I figured why not, do a full-on, do some wok deep frying, which I have never done before. Again, so good. I mean, it's gonna be fine. It's a stainless steel wok. It seasons reasonably well. Flat bottom, which is nice for the electric at least. You don't have to worry about the trying to balance and get heat off of a fully rounded wok. But I'd like to replace it with something that has more of a handle to it, so I can really get my I mean, I'm not too bad about the wok flipping with this, but with a handle, it's kind of difficult, and especially if I'm not wearing any sort of oven mitt. Right, let's continue on here with what we're doing. We've added our scallions. Next up, they want us to add combined cream cheese, crab, and scallions in a medium bowl, and full with the spatula. Anything special to do with the the cream cheese? Well, we've had it out for a while now, so I guess that's kind of softened it up. I guess we just add it in. I am only recently a convert to the world of cream cheese. I used to be a cream cheese denier, as it were. I felt that it was the lowest of the dairy products, and now I understand its important place in the culinary world. Also, how ridiculously packaged it is. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? Gonna have some nice dairy. Would you like to eat dairy from a foil packet? No? Too bad. That's just how it is. There we go. Ooh, okay, there's some moisture in there. So let's keep the moisture out. Because moisture is the enemy of deep frying. Moisture out, cheese only in. Come on. There we go. Up there. Let's go rinse our hand off. Max the Fourth. That's interesting. We do not. I have never run into any sort of a a vegetable onion. We've got medium onions, sweet onion, and the medium onions can be from like medium to medium, but they're still just we mainly differentiate based on flavor profile again for the sweet onions, and then color, because you've got the white onions, which you normally see in Mexican cooking, and sweet onions, which you see everywhere. So who knows? I can't see to that. Let's get out my spatulas. This is probably my favorite dollar store purchase, is this Betty Crocker spatula. I like it because it's got it's got one side with a cup to it, so it makes good for scooping. It's got a good hard, decent hardness on the edges, so it's very good for scooping and reclaiming the last bits from any sort of sticky container. But also, you've got the what I can only think is oop, yeah, that's definitely metal in there, because I did just bend it, but it takes a lot of force to bend that. And what I like most about it is that it is completely sealed in the silicone, so there is no chance. One of my least favorite things cooking happening, this. Because God, who knows what's living in there after going through your dishwasher once. Like, I can already see. Look at that. You can see moisture on there. I don't know what that is, but I don't like it. I don't necessarily want it in my food. Ew. Sorry, random trivia. The butter knife was up here on the shelf with my phone. Let's stick that back in the cutlery drawer there. All right, so we got our cream cheese. We got our onions. Let's chop up some imitation pollock. Imitation crab flavored pollock. I'm assuming that's all meant to be read at once. It's imitation crab. Wait, no, because that would make it imitation pollock, which is crab flavored. It is imitation crab. Also, it is flavored pollock. There we go. We got there. Yep. Love to deal with cooked fish. Okay, let's give this some choppy, shall we? Let's go the other direction too, just to make sure we've got some nice pre-masticated crab. That seems good. What do you think? I think it's great. Doing the show. Let's get that in there. They say 1/4 inch, or Kenji says, what does he say here? Or surimi cut into 1/2 inch pieces. Well, I mean, these all probably come into 1/2 inch. I never understand what they mean by that, too. Do they mean like a 1/2 inch cubed? A 1/2 inch square? Who knows? I'm just happy that I didn't have to pay for an entire package of pollock just for the crab Rangoon. I know that I can make decent what do you call it? California rolls. But I don't know if I want a California roll this close to Christmas. So I guess I am having... Oh, God. I am having brisket for Christmas dinner, but... gotta take care of this floor pollock before I end up stepping in it. Nobody wants to track pollock from the kitchen into your living room. Hosk, my nose, thankfully, has not itched since the last time I was sitting silently drinking scotch for some reason. Wonder why it's doing so now. Wonder if anyone who might be saying words might have something to do with that. Yeah, I've heard of people, in fact, in my short amount of research, decided to go with fancy. They wanted to make the fanciest crab rangoon they could, which included getting crab legs, pulling them apart and pulling the meat in, and not worth it. As is being discussed, I think I see in the chat. Pollock is such a good, especially for cooked dishes. Pollock is a fantastic, good replacement for crab, especially if you take the time to shred it, which you can kind of do there. I'm not going to because it's not worth my time. But you can kind of mimic the texture. Of course, chopping it up is just fine for the purposes we have. But there's so little meat in a crab that if you've got legs, absolutely do not waste them by putting them into something that's going to mask their taste with cream cheese, sweet and sour sauce, and deep fried wonton. You just pull those suckers out, dip them in butter, and get them right in your mouth by itself. Canned crab. I did use canned crab for my California rolls when I made them a while back, but honestly, the first thing I tried the canned crab for was for a set of onigiri that I was doing, because that's something that's in our regular lunch rotations. And I found that the mayo crab, at least the canned crab, just there was something not quite right about the flavor. And it wasn't worth that. And honestly, Pollock for things like this and for California rolls, absolutely a worthwhile crab substitute. Oh, Mystic Man, you've got a you work at a Canadian Chinese restaurant. That's cool. I'm glad to see. I mean, I don't know if I'm glad to see, but I'm glad to see that I'm not talking out of my ass to hear you say that Christmas Eve definitely one of the Christmas Eve, probably the third busiest night where you work after New Year's Eve and Mother's Day. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be eating Christmas Eve. Only got Christmas Day figured out right now. What day is it right now? 22. Okay, so we got 2 more days. So maybe Christmas Eve will be leftover pizza from stream night on Friday. Tune into twitch.tv/tiltyhouse if you'd like to see some Yakuza, as we're playing through all of the wacky games of that style over the course of the next decade or so. Yeah, this one doesn't feel like it's going to need... This one, it feels like the skills are very backloaded here. And by skills, I mean talking about the deep frying. And honestly, I don't find deep frying to be a particularly difficult or scary procedure. Again, the key is not shortchanging it. You don't want to... You want to do it properly. You don't want to skimp out on the amount of oil you're using. You don't want to half-ass your temperature control. And you want to have your stations prepared. And once you've got that out of the way, it's really not a difficult procedure. Right. Let's see what here. X Gold says they spent the time the power was out due to wind assembling a Zaku 2R6. Nice. Love me some Yaku. Some Yakus. Some Zakus. And I would also assume that the Yakuza sale, or the Steam sales, are probably repping Yakuza pretty hard right now. Okay. So we got all our stuff in here. I guess now we just give it a mix with the spatula. Cream cheese has not been as softened as I thought it would be, but that's okay. We can make this work. Just have to be careful, I guess, and patient with ourselves. So let's try and stab up that cream cheese first. This is going to be a mess. This is probably, you know what? This is actually probably not the appropriate bowl for this. Let me swap bowls and give this another try. I think this will make things a little bit easier on ourselves. Scrapey scrape. Clang. Princess Vidal says they did the math on Yakuza 0 at $4.99. It came up to 11 cents US dollar per minigame with the campaign coming in free, thereby making Yakuza 0 one of the best entertainment options, dollar for dollar, that you can have on your computer. Oh god, this is a hell of a smell. I can only imagine what this is going to taste like in my mouth later. I mean, does anyone usually say that without referencing the mouth? Can't wait to feel like what this is going to... I can't wait to find out what this is going to taste like in my sinuses later. Oh, this is going to taste so good in my earlobe. I'm just going to put all this crab rangoon filling directly on my scalp, and it's amazing how moisturizing it is. Actually, honestly, the crab rangoon face mask might be a very interesting option. You know what? This seems to have mixed pretty well by itself. I don't think it's going to get any... I mean, aside from, you know, being softened more, which I guess I could have left the cream cheese out for a bit longer, but it looks to me... Oh, that's hard handwork. It looks to me like this is mostly mixed. So... or gently folded, as the case may be. Oh, you know what would probably be really good in here? Is... and it's probably too late, because I don't want to add too much more to this for the amount of things that we've got. But yes! Not you. But you. Wow, there's some old garlic back here that I never knew existed. Oh, if I was making this again the second time, I would... Well, that's a good sign. When do these expire? I mean, canned things don't really expire unless the can's been very... damaged. Huh. Packed 2010 0122. Anyway, I would suggest, yeah, if I was making this again, I would absolutely add some water chestnuts. There is no... Yay! Good job. No best before date. They will be fine. All right, let us chop that up a bit more. Just mash it out. Make sure there's a... Make sure to give your spoon the maximum bend. I bet those little crunchies would be just delicious with the cream cheese and crab-esque flavor. Well, folks, I would say that looks hella combined. Which means it's time for us to move on to stage 2 of the of the Rangooning, which is going to be making the Rangoons themselves with the wonton paper, which is, again, something I've never done before, so we'll see how that turns out. But before we get to that, we are going to have ourselves a short break for you to get up, stretch your legs, swap your fluids. I'm going to do that part. I'm probably going to sit down to rest my legs, and we'll be back with more Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry in just a few minutes. Don't go all the way away. Folks, we are back with more Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian Horner. I am your navigator in tonight's... I'm your navigator in tonight's journey through this recipe of crab rangoon, and I just realized the reason I'm distracted right now is just above my camera there is a hotel across the way that their penthouse appears to be having what I can only describe as a laser rave. There is absolutely a smoke machine going on there right now. Green lasers flying all over the place throughout the whole thing. It's kind of amazing. I'm going to need to ignore that now for the rest of the night. That said, I figured I'd give you a sneak peek into some of the behind the scenes here in the Crystal Gondola of the palatial main Tiltio Studios here in beautiful downtown Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. This is my view from when you are backed up against the wall. This is all we've got going on here in the cooking space, and it's a lot, as you can see, and it definitely makes things a little bit easy to deal with. I will not show you the rave because, frankly, I do want to maintain a semblance of operational security. So, well, you'll have to just imagine what I guess, I mean, it's almost Christmas. A pre-Christmas rave is going to look like. So let's get that recipe back up there on my end of things. Let's move the wok out of the way, and let's get ourselves a sheet pan. Lay down some parchment paper on that for where we will put our completed rangoons. I assume that... So what is the plural of rangoon at this point? Because is rangoon itself a plural? In the sense that you order a crab rangoon and you are given 20 to 40 pieces of crab rangoon. Like, you call it a piece of crab rangoon. Despite... Seymour! You call it a crab rangoon despite the fact that they are individually bite-sized pieces, not originally part of a whole. Therefore, they should be crab rangoons, not crab rangoon. That's my thought, right? But then you'll tell a piece, oh yeah, last weekend I ate an entire crab rangoon. Like, wow, you sure did eat one deep-fried thing. Did you? Regardless, we need to chop open these wontons. Or rather, the wonton wrappers. Wow! Wow! Cool! Okay, I love it when other languages reinforce that we are using the correct word, at least, or both cultures are using an incorrect word. But at least in this case, we have wonton wrappers. Good, okay, following you so far. Wontono. I haven't learned that kanji yet. But I do know that means nama, which means fresh, which means we need to cook these before we can eat them. Let's crack that. Oh yeah, Molly, welcome. Welcome, Julie as well. Yes, we absolutely crab it in here. I think, Sugar Shot, I believe it's known that you do exist in this city, correct? Because it's surprising to me how I can't buy a crab rangoon in Victoria. I looked. There was during Desert Bus, we're so nice to be sponsored for our foods, and I looked. I thought, you know what? Hey, let's have a meme meal tonight. Let's have the crab rangoon, and there was none available. So, what more can we do but make our own? We got our bowl for moistening. We've got our mixture for mixturating. And Kenji says that we are to use 1.5 teaspoons of Rangoon mixture. I'm going to double check that. Excuse me. Yeah, 1.5 teaspoons. That's a teaspoon. You're looking at about that plus a little bit more. I'm going to use not a teaspoon because this sort of, God, these sort of spoons suck for portioning out in food because they're so deep in order to clean them out. They're just, you know, your finger or you're wrapping right in there. So, Iris, yes, I got steak tartare, which I could get from I think 2 different places, one of which wasn't open at the time, but no Rangoon. And honestly, it really feels weird because Victoria is one of the, in terms of Chinese food, one of the whitest places I know, and no Rangoon, no Rangoon. Do you see the chef who got tattoos of rings on his hands that are accurately sized for tablespoon and tablespoon? I mean, brownie points. That's a great start. But that's one of the things that when you do this sort of thing all day, every day, you start to know what these things are just inherently. You could pick up with your fingers a teaspoon of salt. I'm starting to get to that point actually now, where I can just grab the. You know what? I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Can Ian grab with his fingers a teaspoon of salt? So I'm going to put that behind my back. I'm not even going to feel the bowl. And I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do with my right hand, because that's where I usually do. Can I pick out from the salt cellar a teaspoon of salt? We're actually low on salt right now. I need to get another box of kosher stuff, but let's see here. Gimme. It's harder with the smaller amount of salt, but oh heck yeah! I figure if you count what went over the edges, I am very close. Very close. I feel vindicated. All right. Let's actually do. Let's stop putting off what I'm worried about, and let's start making an Rangoon. So tablespoon or teaspoon and a half. That's going to be about. I want to say, like I want greedy Rangoons. That seems just over to me. If we take it about there, that seems. Have a look. Yeah, I'd say that's about a teaspoon and a half, roughly. Roughly. I mean, we just it needs to be rough. That's all it needs. We also need to make sure that we're using only one wonton skin, because that would be a disaster otherwise. So let's just spoon that into the center there. Give it a good little push. Okay. Now here comes the part I have never done. I understand you're supposed to moisten the edges of this and then push them together. So let's Because we don't want to split this open. We want this to be. Let's just see. Let's one finger moisten, draw some lines, remoisten, draw some lines, and then let's attempt to push the. That's probably too much Rangoon in there, because we want to be able to cover it. If we can't cover it, let's try the tortellini method. So we also want to avoid any air in here, apparently, because that will cause it to explode in the frying section. Okay, and you know, let's. I think I want to be using more water than I am using. That feels like that might be solid. Let's hope. Let's try using a little less Rangoon on this next one. That seems right. I mean, folks, get ready. This is the rest of the other than the deep frying. This is the rest of the show. This might be the next hour. I, in fact, might actually throw the chat. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Going to throw the chat on my phone here so I can keep tabs on you without having to turn around all the time. Oh, oh, there we go. Just need to push the button. And then join the one that's not Desert Bus. Claude Knox, for watching, your chat system is fantastic. Join. And there we go. You're all here. Wait, what? Failed to request join. No, we did it. Everything's good. We're all here. We're all here. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Real Gamer Cow, in small tip for making poached style Rangoon, put the wrapper in your cupped left hand, scoop the filling in, moisten the edges, pinch together with left hand fingers? Pinch together with left hand fingers. Interesting. I'm going to just try the one I've got here with what I'm thinking of first, though. So what I want to do is I want to get everything together in the center like this for maximum coverage, but I've already exploded this one. Damn it. Maybe if I can moisten that and just cover that over. Yeah, sure, good. So we almost got there with this one. Let finger run around as it put together. Press again. This one feels like it's at least going to hold. Okay, great. People were happy with that. Real Gamer Cow is bang on. So put the cupped left hand. Cupped left hand. Right? That's what we want. Then we want to grab some Rangoon mix. Not too much. Put it in the center. A bit more. Moisten. Oh yeah, my understanding is that there is no official shape for the Rangoon. Corners, not edges. Corners, not edges. Okay. So Kenji recommends edges rather than corners because of it maximizes the amount of possible it maximizes the amount of surface area or the crispiness. I think I'm doing pretty well with these packets so far, the tortellini style. But you know what? I'm open to experimentation here. I think I need to spend more time massaging the actual nugget of filling too, I think. Or maybe not. But yeah, I understand that the key is sealing it, because you don't want anything getting out. Let's just try, wetting the whole fudging thing and see what that does for us. You get the wet, and then so we want to form a rosette, I think is the idea. But yeah, I think I'm putting too much in there right now for that to really work. Because yeah, this is apparently what you want, is lots of area here, here, and here for the wonton to become as open and crispy as possible. But I feel like I'm not. I think what people are saying is that these might be too small for that, and I don't disagree. I might be. There's many different types of wonton style and size, but I think I might have gotten something that's a bit too small for what I'm trying to do in that size. Exactly like that, but 45 degrees rotated. This is Corvus. Okay. So if I'm reading you, Corvus, correctly, you're saying bring these sides up, the corners up like that, and then do this? Like, this just gets me a triangle, which is fine. Like, it's a sealed shape, but I'd like to, at that point, then we should really fold it over and complete it into like a little dumpling, so we can get a bit more interesting creases. All four together and also the other corners. Wow, okay. All four corners in one pinch. In one pinch! Corvus is saying to pull all four corners to one point. That to me seems dangerous. I'm doing a smaller amount here this time. God, I'm absolutely going to have to clean this apron after this. The best part about using Pollock is that you're fine to actually go ahead and just lick your fingers. Okay, all four corners to one point. So you do that. Do that. Oh, I get what you're going for now. I see what your idea is here. Okay. Okay. Who is saying pan fry? Is there no reason to not make crab rangoon but pan fried with a small amount of oil? Jessica Engel, you could probably get away with that, but honestly, the point of tonight is, for me, is once again to show deep fry, not that scary, not that difficult, and definitely worth doing for the results. Like yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna keep doing that. What was I saying about deep frying? Like katsudon, you can't, and tempura. If you can't deep fry, or if you're unable, or if you're scared, more importantly, if you're scared to deep fry, you'll never get a proper or good katsudon or tempura. Tempura absolutely needs to be deep fried. And the minute I got over my fear of deep frying, I realized that tempura was achievable and is delicious. It does mean being able to have... Oh, shoot. Well, I'm going to have to repair that maybe. Hope that seals. Seal that down. Oh, now we're getting into the air frying debate. Ian would prefer that people call air fry what it is, which is baked in a convection oven. Let's see here. Katsu, you can maybe get away with a shallow fry katsu, but I do always try to deep fry. Let's see if we can perfect corner to corner here. So let's try corner to corner to corner to corner. Just squeeze everything. Nope. That's going to be a danger one. So I'm just going to seal that up as well. All right. Make the corners touch, says Sugar Shot. I will do my best. I'm going to try using a slightly smaller amount of Rangoon filling because I think I'm getting greedy. I think I'm being greedy is what's going on. Okay, this should be correct. So let's corner up, corner up, corner up, seal. Still some air in there, but I think that's okay. I think this is a good little Rangoon. I what's not. Anubis, they are pre-powdered out of the packet. I do not believe that this is flour. I'm pretty certain this is either potato starch or cornstarch. And because it is a Japanese packet, I'm more inclined to believe that it is potato starch. All right, and let's touch and touch and bring it in. Bring it in, boys. There we go. Okay, now we're starting to find a rhythm. So, yeah, I think they are definitely different than those, but I think this definitely does give you a good surface area. It gives you a good surface area. That's all we're looking for here. Ooh, mango ginger Stilton sounds very good. I've just I've just finished up a package of blue cheese that I'd had for Hamburg steak that I made the other night. It was fantastic stuff. Whoops. Jessica asks, what is katsudon? Katsudon is pork cutlets. It's been tenderized. So I'm going to describe katsu. Katsu is the pork cutlet tenderized, breaded, and then coated in panko specifically to give it a little bit more crunch. And then deep fried for deliciousness, sliced up into strips, covered in some bulldog sauce, placed on top of a bread or a bowl of rice, and then you can either par-cook an egg on some onions and sauce, and then slide that on top, or you can just dunk the egg on top of it afterwards. Your choice, but it's a delicious Japanese dish. When I went over the first time as a exchange student in '96, that was absolutely my favorite food at the time. And I've had some incredible katsus. There was a beautiful place in Nagaoka when I lived there that would have some katsu that was made where they would roll the pork around a Japanese scallion or Tokyo negi. Those long, thick onions. And my God, did that fry up delicious. And as Sugar Shot points out, tofu katsu's well for Japanese for vegetarians. Yeah, it's a process that because it's a process that works well with a lot of different different foods. You can do a chicken katsu pretty easily. Beef katsu, not so much because it doesn't get quite as tender as the pork does. But tofu absolutely katsus up well. You probably get away with salmon, although who knows? But yeah, getting back to did I do tempura on Tinker Tailor? I'm pretty sure that I did. Because being able to make home tempura just felt like such a life hack for me. A level up experience, I guess, is probably a better way of describing it. But chicken fried steak is American beef katsu. Real gamer cow, I won't fight you on that. That's pretty right. It's the Japaneseness definitely comes from the sauces used and the rice involved. But ultimately, the concept is delicious. Oh my. Okay, we're going to go to the top of the hour with our wraps and see how many we can get out. Apparently, should you wish to replicate my recipe, by my recipe I mean Kenji Lopez Alt's recipe, because trust their work. If anyone knows Kenji and can give me an invite, the hookup would be appreciated, because it'd be nice to have them on the show, or vice versa. But yes, once you've got these on here, they are eminently freezable for up to 3 months in the freezer. And you can just deep fry them whenever you have the opportunity or desire. Hester Bird, yeah, gyoza is one of those things I'd like to try. It's also one of the things I understand to be like for a single person like myself. Like if you can get a bunch of old obasans, grandmothers around to do a gyoza making party, that can be efficient. But for the single person living at home, just going down to the local, if you have a local Japanese cuisine shop, or even just an Oriental shop, because you can get a number of Chinese pot stickers and use them, cook them in the gyoza style. But I think I have on my list of potential Tinker Tailors is a gyoza party, which is to say, we make the filling, and then I grab a bunch of people together to put it together and then form them. Oh man, sugar shot. Yeah. Homemade spatzel, super good. Ooh. Get an ice cube tray, freeze butter with herbs and garlic in an instant way of greasing a frying pan with something ridiculous, delicious. Good ideas. I've also seen people do broth that way, stock, etc. Oh, with great difficulty, says Sugar Shot, regarding, I'm assuming, the spatzels. Yeah, no, the first time is never the fastest time, that's for sure. In fact, despite my, despite the fact that I have a TV show on the internet, making foods sometimes, I am absolutely not the speediest when it comes to cooking. I am always second guessing. I'm always re-looking at the recipes. My knife skills are absolute shite in terms of speed, but I do love the process, and I do absolutely love the results. That's the most important thing. Okay, let's try a bigger boy. Let's see if we can do this. I think we got some real talk coming in here from Simonarch. There's also the fact that when you eat food that we only ever eat in a restaurant, try to make ourselves, it takes forever. We haven't made it 10,000 times in the kitchen designed for that purpose. Yep. Be also with, sous chefs to help you out with said uh, chopping and prepping and whatnot. I think this is going to be fun here. Iris of Ether points out that learning cooking skills is a great way for folks with dietary restrictions too. You can often make stuff tailored for yourself. Yep. When you're the one who gets to control the ingredients, and this goes along with what we were saying earlier about substitutions. Sometimes you need to make substitutions because you just can't eat things. And if you can make it at the base level, sometimes you can make something for yourself that we would not be able to get in a restaurant or pre-made for you at all. Great. Great. Oh, these are looking so good. Don't know if I still don't know if I'm a fan of this method, but you know what? I'm willing to try it. It seems to be working out for us. Yeah, I think that anyone who has an interest in food or likes food more than just like really likes food should give cooking a chance. It's like any other. Yeah, it is like any other hobby. Now we're going to throw this over here for now. You can put as much into it or as little as you like, and as long as you enjoy it, you can get something out of it. Great. Oh no! It's safe. 5-second rule, it's going in the deep fryer. No one suspects a thing. Oh, right, we're bringing these corners together up the top. Or roughly. Our Malzuchen thing outside of Germany says Max the Fourth. It's a big ravioli with minced meat filling. I've never had one, but I sound like I would absolutely like to have one. Kelderin, yeah, no, we've actually we absolutely have talked about the social gyoza slash Rangoon filling party idea as a social thing. That's something I've got in my backlog lists. But we're still we are still in a pandemic, and well, things have changed a bit in terms of social whatnot. Up to this point, it's been rather difficult to even consider big social food gatherings on stream or otherwise. But now we're now that we're all a little bit more confident in our vaccination status and our ability to read symptoms. And there are tests available. By the way, if you are an American, Joe Biden's giving you some more free tests, so please take advantage of those if you can. But yeah, maybe we'll in the new year we'll see how things are going, and maybe we can have that sort of fun dumpling filling times. Hell, maybe we can make some other content out of it about what interesting stuff could you put in a deep fried dumpling. Because I bet you could come up with some pretty interesting things. Like, say, a mixture of figs and chocolate. I like both of those. Yeah, Anubis, if you need a size of mask that is large, and I'm assuming beard-based, yeah, you might want to stock up on that before you head to Japan. Very much a pro-mask culture, but definitely not a pro, not even plus size, a pro medium size culture. Peanut butter says triple U, I'm assuming, as a dumpling filling. That could be fun, yeah. Meltshin are also called, oh god, Hergottbeißer, the god cheaters. Because of course God can't see that you're eating a meat unfried if you put it in a dumpling. Oh my god! So they're basically, you're using the same sort of hack that Ortolan uses by just covering something with a small cloth. Also, good to know that Superman has more powers than God, both in English and in German. You'd think that God would at least have X-ray vision, right? All right, put it together. Let's put it all together. Baba Kukurara. Wait, no, let's say. I can't say Barracuda. Baba Ruru. Wait, Baba Rara Kuku Dada. That's it. Baba Rara Kuku Dada. Baba Ruru. Shoot, lost it already. Baba Rara Kuku Dada. Ooh, okay, we're starting to get some of these pieces sticking together. But that said, we're making good work on the Rangoon filling. How many have you got so far? Because apparently we're supposed to get about 40 for these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22! Okay. I'm gonna have to reseal these these wrappers and put them back in the freezer. Thank goodness for vacuum sealers. If you still have time to get your Christmas wishes in and have any hope of receiving what you wish for, I would highly recommend, yeah, ye ol' vacuum sealers. They are super good for preserving meats that you find on sale and anything, and doing sous vide cooking, you know, anything that requires vacuum-based things. Jessica Engel, thank you for recognizing that song. You might be the first person I've run into who has actually recognized that little riff. So that makes me happy today. Family, is it still that beavers are fish? Because I know capybaras are fish, according to the Catholic Church. For some reason, for some reason, I guess conquistadors in the 16th century weren't aware of the moment the capybaras were going to be having in the 2020s. But they needed to eat something while they were, colonializing all over the place. And them capybaras do look mighty meaty. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so there are more people who recognize the Barracuda song. Good. I'm not alone there. Hmm. Ramen noodles is a variant. Oh, wait a minute. I need to turn around here. There, Marcus says, in spirit of the show, I tried something. Ramen noodles is a variant of mac and cheese. It's probably worth a try. Shouldn't have used the seasoning packet, but without it, would try again. Interesting. So just using the ramen noodles with the yeah, that sounds like something where you'd want to avoid the ramen seasoning packet, but ramen noodles with the cheese sounds interesting. I think one of the things I have a hard time with that for myself is that one of the things I like most about ramen, the dish as a whole, is specifically the flavor of the noodles. The using of kansui, that alkaline mix to give the noodles their signature color and flavor. I'm not sure. I mean, you be the judge because you're the one who made it, but I'd be curious to think about what that sort of flavor would taste like. Parm and Romano. No, that sounds mighty fine, actually. That's a bit different than your basic craft flavor packet. But yeah, nothing's stopping you from. It's just pasta is pasta. Now that said, different types of pasta do have different uses, and some of them are better suited for certain situations than others. For example, I would not suggest boiling up a package of individual wonton wrappers, technically pasta, and just coating that in Kraft cheese sauce. Corey, I'm wrapping so many Rangoons. I mean, are there other types of Rangoons? Okay, good. I only have to do this once. Welcome to Tinker Tailor's Solar Fry, where tonight we're trying an experimental dish, banana Rangoon.
What?
No,
Get out.
I live here. This is Hot-chan's house. Hot-chan is here.
We don't own a hot chocolate.
I know. That is a reference to a Twitter account I follow for a zebrafinch specifically called Hot-chan, and their owner was would occasionally take them to the window when they first got them, and the bird would just loudly yell out this this closed window, but it was a window, and with the interpretation, of course, that this is Hachan's house. Hachan is here. And I love birds' declarations of ownership. Okay. Soon, we're going to get to the point where we can cook one of these things and put it in our mouths. Now, for those aware, Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry often makes a food night, and generally that, especially since we've been doing it within the Crystal Gondola, this would be what we eat for dinner. So I had to get some vegetable to go along with it. So I'll be having raw broccoli and carrot as a side dish, as is, I believe, tradition for Chinese food. Ooh, Bananas Foster Triple U. That would be a good crab rangoon. Okay, Sauce Master and Stephanie are both talking about making ramen, and they're talking about stepping on it. Are you sure you're not talking about udon? I understand you may. The bag before you make the noodles, you break them up. What? Stephanie says they step on the pre-made noodles before to break them up before cooking. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that's a different form of cooking than I am referring to. Still valid. Eldarin says, I've eaten a ton of crab rangoon and a little else for dinner before when I was making them. A lot of practice this year. My body did not like it as much as my tongue. Well, at least I've got another person to help me out with this particular batch. But so I'm not entirely certain what I had in mind in terms of how long this would take. But I'm pretty surprised that single person folding up pouches of Rangoon is going to take about a full hour to complete this task. And that's not bad. We've gotten through about half of the wontons, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Max the Fourth says, did you know you can light almost any cocktail on fire if you layer high proof rum on top? I did. Is it worth lighting your cocktail on fire? Absolutely it is. Reminds me, I need to get on top of that for this year's going to a dinner on the 26th, and I think I'm going to take along with me, because I have the Zucker Hut ready. I've made it already. I'm going to make a Fuerzangenbowl, which is a cone of sugar perched atop a mulled wine. God, I'm going all Franklin Turk. A cone of sugar perched on top of a comb atop a mulled wine base. You then soak the sugar with high-proof rum and light it on fire so that the melted sugar drips down into the mulled wine, increasing the flavor and producing a sight to behold for all involved in the celebratory activities. Oh yeah, previously featured on Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry. God, I'm gonna end up doing a lot of things on this show, aren't I? I mean, I already have. I don't. I was gonna say I look forward to the retrospective that we hold on the final episode, but I don't look forward to that. I want to keep doing this for a while. Still youngish. You know what? Maybe we'll. Someone will remember this, so we can put it out there. The show will end when Paul beats me in single combat. So in 75 years or so, says Sarah Markov. Ooh. I mean, thank you, Sarah, because I believe I do look good for my age. But if you think I've got 75 more years in me, you may know something more about drinking the blood of yet undiscovered sea creatures than I do. If Paul is allowed to use robots, it might come sooner than you think. No, he's not allowed to use robots. Single combat. There are no robots involved in single combat. I mean, unless, of course, we're talking about gunned arm technology. It's a possibility. But I mean, can it sing? Can it can it dance? Is it aerial? I highly doubt it. Gundam, Gundam. What's the mushroom nut mixture to beef Wellington duxel? Ooh. Oh yeah, that would actually be very good as a wonton filling. I mean, beef Wellington. Beef Wellington, honestly, when you think about it, is the Western, probably one of the best Western equivalents to a no English. Let's specify English. Best English interpretation of a dumpling or wonton. Oh yeah, this method is extremely forgiving. Now that I feel like I've got some into me here. Right. Oh, we're so close, folks. I'm just gonna I am just going to power through here. We're at the top of the hour, but by God, let's finish this up. Lurker Spine. In fact, we have made pierogies on stream, and I believe it was another Christmas episode, and that was the episode where we got to use our very own local and Tilty House mod, Sarah Surenday's recipe for that. And I highly recommend. Honestly, it's getting to the point now where I have now started to sometimes go back to the archives to search out whether or not I've done something on Tinker Tailor. I really should set up a spreadsheet for my own use and see what's on there, because I haven't done that. I don't know why. Well, I didn't think this show would last for a while, but I remember specifically buying a used pasta mill, not a mill, whatever you call this thing, roller. Yeah, pasta roller from the local thrift shop to complete that. It's still in the moon base on top of our cubbies. F10 Theta. Yeah, my family did a very similar thing. We didn't, for Christmas Eve, we would often do Ukrainian food. And of course, there are Polish pierogies and there are Ukrainian pierogies, and they're probably the same thing. But don't ever tell a Ukrainian or Polish person that, because get ready for a fight. But yeah, we would often eat Ukrainian food on Christmas. So my mother would make pierogies. She would make nalesnika, which is the small. I guess you could say them. You could call them crepes. I guess mixed with a combination of, well, not a combination, but you fill them with cottage cheese, roll them up, put them together log cabin style in a baking dish. You cover it with cream and bake it. I mean, of course, you add dill and other aromatics, but God, that's one of my favorite Christmas dishes, and I have yet to try making it myself. Maybe next year. Because it's been a while since I had it. Seven I have not made a giant ostentatious dessert item. That might be fun to do sometime. Oh yeah, no. Rockbusher points out that yes, Joe Trollo of the Greater Loading Ready Run community has absolutely won ostentatious dessert by providing us with a oh god, croquembouche, the tower of cream-filled cream puffs covered in delicious caramelized sugar. I can't remember if we've ever done hot pot on Tinker Tailor either, or any variation thereof. I desperately prefer using the term nabe, because God, there's just something about English that reduces the. It just feels like it reduces the nobility of foreign dishes down to the dumbest words. Hot pot. I'm not sure what the Chinese word for nabe is, but by God, I prefer the term nabe to hot pot. Is there much Czech food in Canada? We've got a good amount in Texas, and I'm very thankful for it. I mean, it depends on the region. I don't. Oh God, no, that's right. Yes. So, Victoria, probably not a lot, but I'm pretty certain that my favorite steak tartares have come from a Czech place in Edmonton, Alberta. We're just gonna keep this out because that's. You know what? Just because it's the dumbest thing, and someone thought of it, we're gonna do it. And I can't get that one back in the bowl. Throw this out here. Let's finish up this one. Get a nice. Yeah, I absolutely. The Czech version of steak tartare is the one with lots of onion involved, or not onion, but garlic jammed in, and also just given to you in clove form with some delicious fried bread on the side, good spice. Of course, speaking of Nabe, did you ever watch sumo when you lived in Japan? I did not. I didn't get into it while I was there, and unfortunately, I keep missing it over here. It feels like one of those sports that I would love to actually view. That said, my brother is a amateur sumo, I won't say champion, but he is definitely in the rankings, or was in the rankings before his back took him out of it, up in Akita. There's a pretty good amateur sumo scene there, apparently. Hugo, says Lucre Spine, which is meaning fire pot. Great. I kind of like that. But yeah. Hot pot. Okay. Let's take some time to seal up our... Oh, no, wait. Let's finish up this. I got to keep this one aside because I want to fry it last, because it might ruin things, but fuck it. Let's give it a try. All right, let's get a little bit out of there. That seems like a good amount. Throw that in there. Oh, wow. Why'd I do that? I don't want to be tasting peanut butter right now. I guess we are. I'm going to actually add just a bit of salt to this one. I think salt really makes peanut butter sing in an important way. And let's seal this fudger up. Burp. Burp, burp, burp. Okay, importantly, we need to wipe off the salt crystals that landed on the edges there. Okay, so tip to tip. Tip to tip-ish. Make sure to get as much air out of there as possible, because otherwise you are turbo effed. Okay, so at least we can tell that this one, with its brown filling, is very different from this one with its white filling. I'm going to hold this one up here on the counter so I don't mix those up. But we have at least one. You know what? Should I make one for Corey? I should make one for Corey. We should definitely have 2 of these, especially because there's a drop of water on top of that. I don't want that. Let's make another one for Corey here. Let's get the... Nope, that touched water. So let's get another spoon. I mean, I could do the banana one, but I don't have any bananas in the house at the moment. So we're going to have to just go with peanut butter by itself. And I'm definitely going to... You know what? For this one, just for a slight difference, let's add a bit of... grind our salt on. Oof, okay, the grinded salt definitely eats up the water. Just wow. Okay. Gimme, Jimmy Banks. Great. Okay. Actually, let's top it this way first, because that way... Great. Let's push this up. Whoop. Spread you open a bit. Nope. Can't go too far. That one's like that. This one's going to be like this. There we go. 2 peanut butter dumplings. 1 second here while I move some stuff around, namely my lights. Oh, and the wide camera too. Apparently that's touching that. Gotta get out the vacuum sealer. Time to put away what we're working on. Tiny bags? Oh, tiny bags. Perfect. I made some tiny bags earlier. Out of the very last bits of my food saver stuff. So let's turn that on. Take these out of there so that they can unbreathe. In, give them a bit of headroom, because that's the important thing. And suck. Okay. Huh. I don't know where my kitchen Sharpie has gone, so we'll just have to throw this in the fridge for the moment. And we'll freeze them up later. Okay. Folks, we're going to take a short break here while I get ready for us to do some frying. So get up, stretch your legs, swap your fluids, and we'll be back with more Tinker Tailor Solder Fry in just a few minutes. Don't go all the way away. Folks, we are back with more Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. Was this always visible? Probably was. Here on the Mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian, and we are currently in the midst of a crab Rangoon put together. That's what the word is here. Wow, you are off angle. Let me just fix you there. How's that? Do you feel a little bit more properly aligned? Ooh, there we go. Go. Okay, let's call there. We're getting to the frying point, which means we need to get some oil on the hob. Oh! Everything's fine. The oil joined us. We're good. Because it needs 4 quarts. We're probably correct there. So let's dump some oil in our pan. And get that heating while we deal with the other stuff that we need to. Should I be treating this like a oil can? Absolutely not, apparently. There we go. You don't need enough to completely cover them because we're going to be tossing them around. But we do need a good amount of oil. How much have I used so far? Ooh, almost half the bottle. Well, that's great. I know that you can use this. I know that you can use oil more than once, but this is the part that always feels the most wasteful, which is why I like to gang my fried foods. This seems like a very good amount. I like to gang my fried foods up. So, I mean, we'll probably be having, over the Christmas break, some katsudon, as I said, some tempura, and whatever else we can throw into the wok. High heat. And now, the important piece of equipment. The instant read thermometer. Many are available. I use the Thermapen. I really like it. It's quick and gives me good readings. It's not quite indestructible, but almost. Other pens are available, but Do what you need. We also need to deal with adding our pineapple chunks to our sauce, which is... yeah, it's cool. So let's get some pineapples in there while the other stuff is heating. And give that a blend. Pineapples. Pineapple. We need half a cup of chunks. Of course, got our pineapple juice ready for future what have we's. All right. That seems like a half chunk or half cup of pineapple chunks. Is that the correct amount? Let me double check on the recipe. We're looking for half cup. Yep, we're good. Okay, so these can go in the fridge once they get covered. And let's get out the immersion blender. Do we blend it in pot? Why the F not? It just needs to be cut up. We can be fine there. And pineapple, apple pen. And that, I think, is sweet and sour sauce. Draconite Streams asks, anything to look for on instant read thermometers or generic ones good enough? Honestly, yeah, here's where I come down on things like, on simple tools like an instant read thermometer or a screwdriver or a wrench or a ratchet or what have you. It's a simple tool that does one thing, but this is one that I feel like is going to last for me for probably the rest of my cooking life. It might not be the only thermometer I use, but this one is going to last. I have had other instant read thermometers in the past that have crapped out after a couple months, and I've taken them back and returned them. I've had ones that have lasted a couple years, been crapped out. It's one of those situations where the money spent on the expensive ones is going into build quality. Oh, Real Gamer Guy says my thermopen fell on a hot burner and melted. I was upset. Yeah, that's the way it is. It's kind of like the God, that I hate to bring it up, but the Discworld story about the boots is that yes, you can buy a cheap one, and then when it dies, you can buy another cheap one, and then when that dies, you can buy another cheap one, and then let that keep going ad infinitum. But you buy a good pair, you can... Well, I mean, that's the metaphor breaks down a bit, because there you're looking at, like, oh, you can repair the souls and replace the thing and ship of Theseus your bullshit. I think what it really comes down to is buy the cheap version first to see if it's a tool that works. Like, if it's cheap enough to to experiment with. If you get the money to blow on a cheap thing, to try it out, worthwhile. And then you can see how it fits into your workflow and where the shortcomings of it are and where it can be improved. Like instant read doesn't necessarily always mean instant. You might find that what the thermometer you've bought doesn't quite have the dynamic range that you want if you want to get into sub-degree amounts of temperature, or to be able to gauge your temperature at sub-degrees. It's buy cheap to start. If it's worthwhile, then absolutely. Buy cheap to start to figure out your process. From that point, you can either say, oh yes, I can keep using the cheap one until it breaks, and then replace it with a good one. Or it's a case of, I know where the shortcomings of this cheap tool are, I'm going to go buy a more expensive one. Or, I don't use this at all, or this is not useful for me, and then you still got the cheap tool. But you know that you don't need anything more than that. Family says, I've gone without a cooking thermometer for 20 years, so I'll probably make big savings getting any kind. Yeah. I think I have one other thermometer in my home, and that is this, good God, mercury-based candy thermometer that I found at a thrift shop. But it's useful because, actually, it's very useful in this instance, and in fact, I'm going to probably use it. Because it's technically a deep frying thermometer, not a candy thermometer. Let's get that in there. Let's head on over to the oil again and see where things are going there. All right. Oil thermometer in there. That'll tell us what temperature that oil is right now. Ah, there we go. Now you can see it. So we're looking to get to, I believe, 375 degrees. Ooh, I haven't tasted this yet. Now that I've ground the... Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is a sweet and sour sauce, folks. Right, so we're looking to get to 375, if I recall correctly. Let me just pull that up here. $375. So we're probably going to want to go just above 375, but we want to be able to hit a consistent temperature, and that's something that you're just going to have to learn about your stove, how it works, what temperature kind of reacts to. You can see here. Actually, let's keep it there, because you're going to need to see both of those things. Just want to make sure you can see. There you go. We're going on high right now to get it up to temperature, but we're going to need to shut it down. That's going to happen. That's going to happen more than once. Yeah, and there's talk about mercury thermometers in the chat. Yeah, I agree with Ranger Alpha that mercury is fine, but it is impossible to get rid of responsibly. If it breaks, you'll need to, and I will need to bring in a clean kit and take it all out to the hazardous waste department, which is where I need to take my resin bottles, because you can't get all. I mean, technically, I could probably get most of my resin out with alcohol and then cure that, but even then, I don't feel good about just tossing empty resin bottles into anywhere that could possibly interact with the groundwater. But yeah, this is the option that you have if you don't want to buy a deep fryer. And while deep fryers are fine pieces of equipment and fine appliances, I've personally found them to be too fiddly and too difficult to clean to be worthwhile. This is something I learned when my brother wanted a deep fryer for Christmas back when I think he was in his late, in his late teens. And I think he got it for Christmas and then used it twice and never again. Sorry, I'm just now responding to my family trying to get together a multi-country, multi-time zone Christmas chat going here. Yep, I'm fine with 9 a.m. Mountain. Yes. On show. Boop. All right. Where are we at here? Ooh, okay, we're at 350. Let's put away some of our equipment that we don't need here. And at this point, we actually absolutely should get our fry receptacle station ready. So we're going to need another aluminum pan. But this time, this is one of the areas where I will invoke Alton Brown. Oh, can't do that here. Does it work on this one? Dang it. Okay, can't do that. The correct thing to do is to grab a grate and then put paper towel under it so that you're getting the grate action. You know what? Hell with that. I have a bigger sheet pan. Let's do it right. Too many sheet pans. All right, we'll get out the big sheet pan. Under this, we are going to 375. We're at 375. Let's turn that down to 3 now and see where that goes from there. In the meantime, I'm going to take a lot of paper towel. Lay that down. Oh, one more square is probably necessary. Good, there we go. And we are going to lay that down upside down over top of the paper towel. That's the key here. You want the rack right against the paper towel so that the Rangoons are on the grate, but close enough that the paper towel can wick it away if necessary. And that's apparently how you deep fry. So we got our fry station just about complete here. That taken care of, and we're going to get our Rangoons. We're going to put these to the left here, on this side. Temperature is at 400, so we're going to shut off power for a second. And we're going to let that come down. Because too much is going to be, too much power will be too hot and we'll get really blackened and browned. And we want things to be golden. I'm also going to take my glasses off and turn on the overhead fan. Now, why am I taking my glasses off and taking them out of the room? Because I hate cleaning oil off of my glasses. And this is going to be a process that is going to add oil to the air. And it's going to pop up on the glasses and it'll be a bad time. So I'm just going to bring you up all back on the phone here. Hope we're all having a good time tonight so far. Oh, just catching up now in the chat here, talking about panini presses. I'm lucky enough to have a very old waffle iron that has reversible sides, one for waffles and one for flat. So it makes pressing your sandwiches very easy. Shimmering oil is generally a good sign. But you'll note that the heat has not gone, despite turning off the power, the heat has not gone down a lot. Which, to me, means that it might be worth dumping a few of these Rangoons in here to deal with that. So let's take that back to 4 on the stove. And let's dump some Rangoons in and see what that does to the temperature. Yeah, we want... We don't want to crowd the pan, that's for sure. But we do want to maximize usage, so, I don't know. It's like 5 to start with? 6, because I like even numbers. I really like even numbers. So let's go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3-minute timer. Oop. Good. We're just gonna kind of walk these around. This, now that I can see it, is absolutely probably, this is probably actually too much oil. And you can see the temperature, if you look up here, the temperature is going down. So we want it to level out at 375. We're trying to bring it down with a bit of outside help. And I think it's working. But yeah, dance your Rangoons around so that they're getting evenly toasted on both sides. So you can see that one, that brown side is much better. We want to keep that side down. Everything should be nice and golden brown. We get 2 minutes left on this. Just starting to bring it down to 275. Some of these I might bring out a bit early. But yeah. This is not a difficult thing. The aspect of frying in itself is generally safe because what's happening is you want to create this area of evaporating water that keeps the oil from actually hitting the food. And I think we may have actually stabilized here. If you can see, we're at 2 on the dial and 375 and not really dropping anymore. Throw this around over here so you can all see it. Maybe. No, you can't really see that there. Let's see about this side. No, I can't see it. Okay. Here is fine. Anyway. You got 30 seconds left. These are looking real good. Look at that brown. Those. Oh. Look at that. I can start to smell this a bit. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, look at that. Okay, so we've dropped below 375 just a bit there. If you can see, so I'm putting the heat back up. But I think if we go with like 5 or 6 at a time, it's going to be, we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. Let's spread those out on there. Let's see if we can get that heat just up back again to 375. But dang! Got some good frying going on. Now, the thing about deep frying is that you absolutely do have to wait a few minutes before you you get in there and do a taste test. I feel like we are on track, folks, for some real flavor here. Okay, sticking the heat between 3 and 4. I think we are good to go for a... Hello. You're good to go for another round, so let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to be ambitious. 7, 8. Do 3 more minutes on the clock. Okay, and you can see our heat has dipped down below 375. That's what we didn't want. It should be fine. We're still pretty close, but we might need to add a little bit of extra time to these ones to properly fry them. The reason you want your heat high is because that is what's going to keep it from getting soggy with oil. If you get too low, then you won't form that immediate evaporation of water around the edges, which is what keeps the oil from seeping in. And you'll just get oil-soaked unpleasantness. We're kind of hitting that here, but these ones look a little bit... you can see these ones aren't goldening up as quickly as the last ones were. Some of them are absolutely having some issues floating in the right direction, which means I've probably put too much oil in them, or too much. I've left too much air in the filling process. But you know, we can deal with that by various options. I'm concerned that the heat keeps dropping. I'm going to put that back on 5, actually. Because that's... We're getting very close to 350. And if you're a fan of cooking, at least in the sous vide method, you understand that it's not time, it's temperature that matters when it comes to cooking. You know, if we were at like 220, we could have these things in here all day, and they would not get brown. And I think this batch, it'd still be fine. But these are not going to be like the ones you... These will not be the Rangoons you reach for first in the batch. What I'm happy about so far is how good these... we haven't had a burst yet, is what I'm saying. And I'm very happy about that. So these look pretty good. I'm going to say these are done. We've almost got back up to temperature, but these all look pretty golden brown. So let's spider these out. Also, this is my first time actually using this spider, and I'm incredibly happy with how well it's working. All right. Let's get back up to 350. Let's let it. Yeah. Let's let the heat replenish itself. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm just gonna catch up on chat here. Yes, start digital seahorse. The English word for this thing is spider. I don't know what it is for the cultures that actually invented it, but I probably should find out. The fake yellow. This spider comes from a. It is completely unbranded. This comes from a local Chinese restaurant supply shop. And so my suggestion, and honestly, when it comes to any sort of cooking equipment, my suggestion is always to go to either your Asian food market area, if you have one in your area, and get your utensils from there. But also, if you have like a Russell Hendricks or any other sort of regular food restaurant supply shop, buy your equipment there because it's so much more geared for actual cooking rather than aesthetics and whatnot. Just gonna throw a bunch in here until I think that I've got a pot full. Because we've got, yeah, I need to take that heat back down and hit the 3-minute timer. A lot of space in the wok. Because most of your food that's going to be deep fried is going to be, it's going to float. If nothing else, because you'll have, pockets of air in the broth, but you don't need as much. I'm always surprised to learn you don't need as much oil as you think. I probably could have got away with, I would say, about a quart less than what I've got in here. And still been able to have a good time frying. Look at that. Look at that. Exactly 475. I think we dialed it in, folks. Want to make sure that we get some of these things that have, a light side and a dark side. See if we can try more for the darken both sides evenly. Although we're only halfway through, so. I'm starting to smell crab. He says, not ever having had crab Rangoon, I'm starting to smell crab Rangoon in the room. But yeah, despite the fact that they are supposedly commercial establishments, restaurant supply shops will be happy to sell you a single or like 4 or 5 bar glasses or a spider or a wok or some carbon steel pans, hint, hint, as they are to sell you like 12 of them. Okay, Lurk Response says A-Smart is one of the big ones in the US. Yeah. I can't speak to the US, but yeah, here in at least Western Canada, Russell Hendricks is the name you're looking for. But yeah, just oftentimes they'll have a showroom. So let's wander in, have a look at what they've got, and if it's something you need, it's worthwhile. Alarm says done. Visual inspection says done. Yep. Folks, we've done a very good job of sealing these up too, because I have not seen one spit or spray. It's something you need to be worried about whenever you're deep frying because it can happen. But so far, I have been extremely impressed. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do one more. There we go. Okay, and 3-minute timer. Boop. We are just below 375, but that's okay. Heat's on high. We are making our way back up. No, yeah, Intero, 0 bursts is in fact a miracle. I'm surprised myself that we managed to be so good. But yeah, I highly recommend if you're interested in cooking and you need some sort of new utensil, definitely check out the restaurant supply shops. It's where I got my favorite spatula, which is fantastic. It's hard, it doesn't bend, it's got sharp edges, square corners, which matters, and a sharp front edge, useful for scraping that your what you call it, cast iron. This happened because I left it preheating in the oven before noticing it. That tells you the quality of this thing. This was preheated to 375 before I pulled it out, and it's still a heck of a thing. How's our time doing? We're back up to 375. Turn over some of these boys. Come on. Guess we just need to keep them dancing is all we need. Burger spine, I was actually thinking of something made of wood as a replacement handle for that spatula. No, sorry, for those listening, I was preheating the oven with my cast iron still in it, with the spatula still on the pan. And that was the accident I made. God, I love how locked we are. I love it when I can lock in the temperature like that with food in it. Which reminds me, let's take it down to about 4.5, which I think is the level we need to be. Again, still, miraculously no blowouts. But still mostly golden brown on most sides. This one's going to be a bit whiter on some sides, but that'll still crisp up. I'm sure that's still going to be crispy once we get that laid out. Let's move around some of these ones we've already done here, so we've got some more space. Okay, let's get these boys out of here. And then we're down to our last couple rounds. There. We are above 375, but that's good because the minute we get these final boys in there, it's gonna jump right back down, I think, to, yeah, look at that look at that go. Down, 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 down until you hit the 375. Yes, lurker spine, and then we do the peanut butter ones. Yeah, this is the gentlest and cleanest deep frying I have ever done. I've done a non-zero amount of deep frying, and honestly, this oil, this is clean AF. We have somehow managed to just lock in a zero blowout situation. It's a Christmas miracle, is what it is. It must be. I'm so happy with this. Oh, mother, the crab Rangoon. Also, so one of the videos I watched stated they ordered crab Rangoon, and apparently the restaurant said it would take 45 minutes to cook them. I believe it. Given it took us 3 hours from start to finish, scratch, to get this from nothing to Rangoon. And I always say, whenever we're looking to test time or to base our time, I always say it's best to, if you're doing something on stream, assume it takes double the time. This is especially true for not video games, board games. They say a game usually takes 20 minutes. Expect 40 because we walk ourselves through the process, we talk through it. And I think that goes for cooking too. And to be honest, if that's the case, 2 times 340 is an hour and a half. 2 times 45 minutes is an hour and a half. Not 3 hours like I thought it was initially. Oops. But still, it's good. It's close. Anyway, we are getting close to. We are still locked in at just over 375. We are dancing these Rangoons, and time is up. Get them out. Onto the grate with the paper towel, and let us... Okay, here's the yeast to resistance. Let's bring that temperature down a bit. Here come the peanut butter. They're angry, but I don't think they burst. Oh my god. Quite a zero. I wouldn't say that we're getting different heating zones because you've got the flat bottom of the wok that's going up the edges. As long as you're circulating the oil like this, you're definitely keeping it even. Like, honestly, I honestly feel like you might be like deep frying with a wok, as long as it's a steel wok, might be best done on induction rather than flame. Like, the flame is nice because it means you can keep your heat while you're doing the tossy whatnot. But if you're just doing stuff like this, which is just deep frying, I worry about this one. Shoot, I didn't time it. 1 minute, 30 seconds. You know what? Let's eyeball it. Fuck it. Let's do it live. I think this one is open. I think it's clouding up the oil. And it's tossing bubbles out. Sorry, you can't see that. There you go. You can see this one's tossing bubbles out. I think that one's open. I think this one's going to be full of oil when we get it. I think it's fucking up my... You know what? I'm going to say we're done. That looks good. Oh, yeah, yeah. You actually get out of the oil. That might have ruined my oil, but that's okay, because we got crab Rangoon all the way otherwise. And we can obviously skim that oil off later on. God, we've done some real work here. I'm gonna get, if you'll give me 1 second, I'm gonna grab Corey and we're gonna do a quick taste test here. So 1 moment. Oh. All right, we got our taste tester coming in here. Oh yeah, let's get away from the pot. Welcome to Crab Rangoon.
Hello. Whoa, they're bigger than I expected.
Oh, are they? Have and Crab Rangoon. Don't forget to dip it in sauce. Sauce.
Like, I could just eat 30 of these.
Well, I have good news for you. Now, would you like to try something experimental?
Okay.
This one has peanut butter.
Hot. Hot.
Hot, 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 hot.
Hot. Hot.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's peanut butter in a crispy wonton shell.
Yep.
Thank you.
Label that one point towards enemy. No, give me one of the crab ones again.
Oh,
Dinner time.
oh no.
Here, the Kiva bug bar.
Well, so that's going to do it for this week's Tinker Tailor Solar Fry. I hope you enjoyed the program. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And I hope you take the time to experiment with yourself. I hope that you take the time yourself to experiment with your foods and try something new that you haven't maybe tried this holiday season if you've got some time off. It's been absolutely a pleasure to have you here for the stream. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching, and we will see you in a fortnight's time. Never in fortnight. And as we say, ever forward, learning out of spite. Good night, and a good crab Rangoon to all.